Welcome, people of the World Wide Web, and it's another episode of the collection in depth. So this is part 3 that I have planned for you today. Hope you enjoyed the series. Obviously, we're slowly working our way through the A's and onto the B's, but roll video. And welcome back to the in-depth collection, part 3. So we've done the first 3 sections, and now we're down to here. So we start with the AMs, and we have an American Beauty, obviously a classic. Saw this at cinema. I've only ever seen it twice on the DVD, and that obviously won the Oscars. American Dream's a bit more of the chick flick for the girls and stuff, as you can see the labels on it, so I've not watched this one, so I can't really comment. Then we have a bit of Denzel, American Gangster, really good film, quite a long film, but really good and informative. Just well written and well acted. I don't know if it's the best film of the year, but it was definitely a good one. Series American Gods season 1, I started to watch this, got into season 1, started season 2, and unfortunately just due to a set of circumstances never finished this off, so this is one to kind of go back to. Then we have kind of the film that's synonymous for the curb stomp scene, American History X. Obviously Ed Furlong from Terminator 2 and Ed Norton. Obviously, as you can see, it's about Nazis and stuff. Then we go to the American Pies. So obviously the first one, I'm sure we all remember that if you brought up and were a teenager in the 90s. Then obviously we have number 2, the unseen version, just as a few bits. Then we have The Wedding, which was number 3. Then obviously the Reunion, which happened a fair few years ago. I can't quite remember when that was. And then kind of after it, I've just got one of the standalone one, which is Beta House. Obviously Eugene Levy star, the only, I think, returning cast member. Then we go on to American Psycho, Christian Bale. Quite a good film if you've ever seen it. Very interesting with a chainsaw. I won't say any more. Then obviously we had the lesser known American Psycho 2. With Mila, what's her name? Mila Kunis, that's it. I was thinking Meg. It's an alright film, not as good as the first. Then we go to American Sniper, Bradley Cooper. I have seen this at the cinema. I thought it was a really good film, which is why I bought it. Just haven't got around to rewatching it yet, which is why the label's on there. And then one of my favourite actors, John Cusack. Good old American Sweethearts. Wasn't a bad film. Not his best, but definitely not his worst. Obviously, Julia Roberts in there. Then we move along to A Merry Christmas. Obviously, one of the latter films that Robin Williams did. I thought it was alright. It has a few other famous people in it. It wasn't the best, but it was alright as a Christmas film goes. Then we're on American Ultra. Watched this at the cinema. I thought it was alright. Obviously, it was only £1, so I thought I'd add it to there. Kristen Stewart and Jesse Eisenberg. It's an interesting concept and executed alright. I just felt it was kind of missing something. Then we go to American Werewolf in London. Obviously, a very classic, very good prosthetics and stuff and work that's done here. Only watched this probably about 5 years ago. Managed to find this copy, I think, at a car boot sale quite cheap. So, yeah, it's a fairly good film. Yeah, with A Mighty Heart, as you can see the labels on it, not seen this. Obviously, it's based on a true story, so I was intrigued and picked it up, but just, yeah, haven't got around to watch it. Is that Hugh Jackman? Maybe Hugh Jackman. Anyway, A Million Ways to Die in the West, brilliant comedy film from Seth MacFarlane, obviously the comedy genius behind Family Guy and a lot of other stuff. Watched it with my wife, she remembers it with the hat scene, and I won't say any more than that, but yeah, I quite liked this. A Monster Calls. I was intrigued enough when I saw the trailer for this, and it is quite an interesting film. Obviously, it is about a kid who deals with his mum who has cancer. But I thought it was quite well done, and it's very interesting the way they handled it. A Murder of Crows. My wife really liked this one. Obviously, a group of crows is called a murder, which I didn't realise. It's kind of a court battle case with Cuba Gooding Jr. It's kind of if you're into that sort of thing, it's definitely up your street. I say it's all right. It's nothing to scream and shout about. And a little bit of kind of action death. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call it thriller, but obviously Anaconda. Good old big CG snakes eating people. We can't go wrong there. And then we go to American Tail 1. Always kind of gravitate to Fievel Goes West, but I've not found a cheap enough copy yet. So Don Bluth, very good animator, done some very good work. And Nanny for Christmas. Quite a big fan of Dean Cain. He was my Superman, one of my Supermen growing up. This isn't the best Christmas film. It's all about Christmas, but it's set in a really hot part of America. So there's a few bits like that don't really kind of connect. Anchorman 1 and 2. Really liked 1. Not the biggest fan of 2 in all fairness, but I think Will Ferrell's very hit and miss sometimes. Andy Parson, obviously big fan of Mock the Week, and he was on it back in the day. His stand-up's alright, not the best. Education. I bought this, I think, from a car boot. I've not seen it, so I can't tell you anything about it except for what it says there. See, back in the day, was a big Kevin Smith fan. I still am a fan, but not as big as I was. So obviously, this is a kind of him doing a Q&A session. It's quite good, quite interesting to learn how he is. Obviously, what wasn't as big as he was back then, so he's got to learn. And obviously, there's 2. It's good to hear his ideas of how his films were made and stuff. Apologies, the camera keeps moving. I'm just getting Anger Management. Love this film. Big old Adam Sandler fan, and Jack Nicholson, him. The 2 have very good chemistry together, play off very well. Another little thing I loved back in the Angry Kid. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I thought this was quite hilarious. Very well done between live action and stop motion. And Idiot Broadleys are my wives. I've never actually got round to seeing them. I like it. They seem interesting, but back in the day I wasn't the biggest fan of Ricky Gervais, so I have warmed to him over the years. And then obviously we have number 3 with good old Warwick Davis there. A Night at the Roxbury, a very young Will Ferrell, and this is a very stupid 90s, I think it's 90s movie if memory serves me right, about 2 lads going out clubbing. But yeah, it's quite funny. Emilio, if I say that, if you know what this is, you'll probably remember. Animal Factory Prison 1 with obviously Edward Furlong again. He gets a few places, and that is William Dafoe with Skinhead. All about being in prison and stuff. It was alright. Animal House from the National Lampoons. I recently watched this, I think last year. It was okay. I think I'm very late to the party on these, and because I didn't grow up with them, I just don't find them as funny as they probably were back in the day. Annapolis. So this was a random one I came across watching TV one night many years ago, and James Franco's in the Navy, and then I found out this is it, bought it and watched it, and it's quite a good film. It is, obviously, if you're about the Navy and what the cadets go through and stuff. I thought it was quite good. See, Annie, I liked it more than I thought. The reason I bought it, obviously, is a very, very, very small cameo by Michael J. Fox. So, but yeah, I didn't think it was too bad as remakes go. Then we got Antitrust. Cannot remember this. It is probably one of those kind of actiony 90s movies that, or it's a thriller of the year, it says, but it hasn't really stuck in my head. So don't know, have you seen this movie? Please let me know in the comments. Should I revisit it if I can get my words out? Then we go into Ants, obviously a classic, the good old Sylvester Stallone character there. Did you like Ants or Bug's Life? I like both of them. A Perfect Getaway had a lot of premise, a lot of famous people in there. Unfortunately, the execution was a bit lacking in places. I thought you kind of figure stuff out quite too earlier on, but I would have liked a bit more suspense, but that's just me. A Perfect Murder, Michael Douglas. Don't actually remember this. Obviously, you see a couple. It's a very, very old DVD. I can't say much more than that as I can't remember it. Apocalypse Now, a special edition. This I had for a fair while. Watched that last year because it's on my top 100 films. It was okay. I wasn't as blown away as a lot of other people were. I'm glad to have the special edition. There was some good stuff in there, but yeah, just not. I'm not the biggest war type fan, and there was some bits of it that just with not Francis Ford Coppola. What is the actor's name? Oh, anyway, the person who gets kidnapped who's in with the indigenous people, that bit near the end just seemed very strange. And we're going to Mel Gibson's Apocalypse. I really like this film. Obviously, I think this was the first... Oh no, you've done Passion of Christ. This was the first few films that Mel Gibson did, and I actually really liked it. It was a bit different, out there, shot very well, very beautiful in its photography. Right, then we go down to the next section. So we have the classic Apollo 13. Yes, I have seen this. Yes, it was only 75p, so I picked it up, but not seen it in a long time. Obviously, for Americans, it is quite a good film. But yeah, it's very interesting to learn a few more bits about this. Quiet Place 2. If you've watched the channel, you will see me pick this up recently. I've seen 1 and 2 at the cinema. Didn't realise why I didn't have them, so I bought 2. I need to buy 1 and re-watch them. Very good films. Arachnophobia, classic if you like. Spiders, very interesting take on it and how they portray them and that, and obviously the foreign one coming over and then mating with the indigenous and that. There we go. Let me get into some more series. So we have Archer, the complete season 1. Quite liked this, got into this I think when it was on Netflix. I think they only had like the first season or something, so then I picked up obviously season 2 and watched that, and then season 3, and then unfortunately I kind of went off on another direction of watching something. Argo, Ben Affleck, brilliant film. Not my usual film that I would enjoy, but very well, good ensemble cast and just how they act together in the story. Very interesting, kept me captivated the whole time. Armageddon, Bruce Willis, love this movie. Went to see this at the cinema with a double bill to Godzilla. And interesting that I missed the first few minutes, and when I went back and rewatched it, I think a few years ago, I was like, oh, I've actually completely missed one bit. But there we go. Armoured. I kind of got this from Milo Ventimiglia, so he's the second on the right next to Jean Reno. But yeah, actually not a bad film. A bit of an underrated one and a very good concept and executed. It had a few bad points here and there, but a not bad one. I'd definitely recommend that if you're kind of into the action kind of suspense films. Then we got Around the World in 80 Days. Good old Jackie Chan, gotta love him. You know, silly comedies from the 90s or early 2000s. Then we have Arrested Development. My friends really love this. Never really got round to watching it. I think I might have watched part of season 1, and obviously I've got season 2 there. Never got season 3, and then they did remakes. So then we come to Arrow. So as you will kind of see, this is kind of the DC TV together, and you're thinking, what's DC? So the first one to set it off was Arrow, so this is why it stays in the A's, and then everything follows on from this. So we obviously have Arrow season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the finale, number 8. So it wasn't too bad. I say it did wane when he started going a bit more soft. I thought the action died down a little bit. Then obviously we carry on with The Flash because that was the second series released from there. So obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 7 inside, and I haven't watched 7 yet, so I haven't got 8, and I think 9 is finishing up now. And then obviously we have Supergirl that followed, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let's get too far. Sorry if I'm going too quick. 5. Oh, it's a bit strange why it's in back to front. And then the finale, 6. I was a big advocate of Supergirl. I did like it. I did find they kind of went round the same gimmicks and themes, and it did get a bit repetitive for me personally near the ends. But then obviously Legends, because that also tied in. Obviously there's season 1 with Rip, and then obviously Rip leaves, and then obviously I only kind of, I know his Rip is a bit there, so they kind of follow this, but it wasn't the best. I was more watching it because it tied into the stories. I did like some of the characters like Captain Cold and Heatwave and that, but it just got a little boring over time, which is why it goes up to season 5, and that was the last one I've got. And here's Batgirl season. I struggled, I must admit. There is 2 and 3 and they're different actresses, and people have said it is getting better, so we shall see. Then obviously we have Arthur, not the original, with Dudley Moore. This is obviously the remake with Russell Brand. Arthur Christmas, because who doesn't love a Christmas movie, especially a CG one. And finally, for this one, we have AI. So a very good film, obviously special edition, got loads of stuff within it. It's an alright movie, it's an interesting concept, which I say a lot, but not the best. And obviously there we are. Oh, as I break toys, obviously 2 more rows to go, so next time we will start with Scanner Darkly, and then we're almost out of the A's and onto the B's. And there you go, obviously quite a long video. We are getting through this slowly and surely. Hopefully enjoying the videos. You know, is there anything in the videos you liked, or even that I've not seen and you recommend I should watch? It's all appreciated. Anyway, I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. Hope you're enjoying the videos. Please like, comment and subscribe if you wish, and I shall definitely see you in the next one.